Hello, one and all. Welcome back to Johnny Torch Live. Thanksgiving weekend. I hope you had a very happy Thanksgiving. Wish you a happy Thanksgiving. I had a pretty enjoyable Thanksgiving with the family and ate lots of good food, turkey, desserts. Oh, it was just wonderful. A fine Italian Thanksgiving is only. But here we are with the only way to spend your Saturday, if I may be so bold, here on Johnny Torch Live, number 33. So we're doing a Torch News Roundup tonight, number 67. Here we go. Let's start off with, as I am wont to do, a segment I like to call Johnny's NFL Football Picks of the Week. Posted on Twitter, and if you want to check out my Twitter page, just take a look in the description below. Thanksgiving games. So everything's kosher, everything's above board. So far, I haven't done too bad. Last week, 7-7 week, but I'm still well above the Mendoza line. I got 99 wins and 61 defeats. Okay. I took the Vikings over the Lions. I took the Chargers over the Cowboys. No, I took the Cowboys over the Chargers. The Chargers won, which was surprising to me. That was a premier team at one time. The Chargers, formerly known as the San Diego Chargers. The Redskins over the Giants, and of course that came to pass because I don't know what's up with the Giants this year, but our picks for the Sunday games, which is tomorrow, over the Buccaneers, the Bengals over the Browns, the Chiefs over the Bills, the Patriots over the Dolphins, of course. Dolphins always give them a tough time in Miami, but they're playing in Foxborough, so roll with that one. I took the Panthers over the Jets, the Eagles over the Bears. Who's going to stop the Eagles? That's the story this season. I'm going with the Saints over the Rams, although that's a close one. That's going to be fun to see. The Seahawks over the 49ers, Jaguars over the Cardinals, the Raiders over the Broncos. That used to be a good game when I was a kid, Raiders and Broncos. Nowadays, what's the score for both of them? They're both like I'm taking the Steelers over the Packers. If Aaron Rodgers was playing, that would be an exciting game, but for the season. And the Monday nighter, I'm taking the Ravens over the Texans. If you have any picks on the NFL, let me know. Put them in the description below. That will be fun. This week in Johnny's NFL Football Picks of the Week. Trying here, and like I said, for the 2 or 3 viewers that I have, I'll put timestamps so you can skip it if you're not interested. But interest in the NFL on my channel, drop it next season. All right, so here we go. We officially start up number 67 as I pull up my notes. We got a long show as usual because we also have the television, although not as many shows this week. A couple of shows took the week off because of Thanksgiving. I was surprised actually that the CW shows didn't. No Gotham. On last week's Macgyver, not this week because they didn't have one this week. But I'm always a week behind on Macgyver because I can't watch it live most of the time. And again, apologies if my voice still bears a little bit of the trace of the cold that I'm getting over. But also, I'm still looking into seeing if I can improve the audio quality of these live shows. Stop doing live shows and just do them recorded again. I'm having problems getting them recorded. But maybe I could work something out that way easier than this because I don't get too many live viewers anyway. Oh. The poll of the week last week on my Twitter page, we asked Thor Ragnarok be with the success of Thor Ragnarok, will Thor be the first, potentially only MCU character to get a fourth solo movie with Iron Man, despite some rumblings that they would be up for it. Can't tell with Captain America if Chris Evans is really in. Really don't know about Guardians yet, but we're talking solo characters here, I suppose. Anyway, it's a little bit easier to get an ensemble, do a solo film. That's what's a little bit tougher. The yay option passed resoundingly with 67% saying no. So, a slight majority of people think that Thor will get, and I don't doubt it really, because I think Hemsworth is up for it. I think he enjoys playing the character. I think he knows it's his claim to fame. Marvel probably will respond to the fact that they made a resounding amount of money with Thor Ragnarok, although I suppose making $1 billion didn't really make them change their mind on Iron Man 3. But as I said last week, I think that has something to do with RDJ's paycheck. You can print money by making these movies, afraid to give him a raise. I don't get it. All right, so this week's poll of the week question: do you want Warner Brothers to release the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League on Blu-ray? Far, and the voting has only been open for a day. Say, I need it. 20% say, no thanks, I'm good. And have said whatever, as if, who cares? We're going to get into this later. I'll hold on my feeling on this until later, because that's one of our news stories. First off, though, first order of business before we get into any of the stories, farewell to David Cassidy, who passed on this past week at the age of 67, a medically induced coma. His organs were failing. Need a liver transplant. Passed on, sadly, a couple of days before Thanksgiving. So, send our condolences to his family. In fact, her birthday is today. I'm sure that's very difficult for her. So we want to wish her all the best, and of David Cassidy. Of course, as I said before, I've always been a fan of his, because as we see in the picture here, he played Sam Scudder last show. Mirror Master, for those in the uninitiated. He's Mirror Master. He brought a lot of character to the role, a lot of pop, to a character that was potentially going to be kind of bland, because he didn't have the costume, he didn't have too many flashy trappings, but the character was really served well by. And I would have loved to see him do something in the Arrowverse. Of course, his health wasn't too good for the past couple of years. It would have been to grab him at the beginning of Arrow, the first season, possibly the second. He was in ill health for the past couple of years. Again, he was a talented singer. Started with the Partridge Family, with Gucci, Susan Day. And, one of my favorite songs, of course, is the classic, excuse me, my voice, I Think I Love You. He had a lot of classics, though. I Woke Up in Love This Morning. So, he was a great singer there. He was a fine actor. Would have loved to see him do something else in the genre. But, yes, wishes, and God bless David Cassidy for all the wonderful in the entertainment. Also want to make mention briefly of passed on this past week, a very talented woman in her own right, woman of God. She became a pastor later in life. Talented actress and comedian. She's probably best known for Touched by an Angel, and of course, in the 60s, she had a big hit with Don't You Know? Amy, I believe. There's that, fine Bachelor of Arts, Fine Arts. But yeah, she also, I was first aware of Della Reese, I believe. Yeah, that was a hit song. That was a great song. I love that song. But I was first made aware of Della Reese, I believe, where she played Mama Colton in the Macgyver show. Uh, uh, Bounty hunter family that Macgyver ran into. That was a fun addition to the Macgyver mythos. I wonder if they'll do that in the in the ongoing series now. But or did they? Yeah, I think they did. Colton brothers there. The Colton brothers, if you remember, Cuba Gooding Jr. got his start there. That wanted to be a bounty hunter, and Mama Colton dissuade him, so to speak. But then you had like the odd couple, the other two brothers, which I can't remember the actors now, but guy, the other was a more refined, sophisticated man. To make that a spin-off, which would have been fun, but it never passed the co-star status. So yeah, once again, of course, from Touched by an Angel, I think most people remember her from. She spent on that show, but again, to Miss Della Reese, God bless. I'm sure she's up there singing with those angels. All right, so let's get on to the show here. Let us not waste any more time, and we are on to the Torch News Roundup 67. Okay, first off, there is a rumor going around, and that is seen it only referred to as a rumor. Oh, this is going to be fun. All my so I am going to have to pull these up manually. Let's see. Oh boy. Second, talk amongst yourselves while I get these up. Okay, here it is. We'll start with founding that Jude Law has joined the cast of Captain Marvel, other than Mar-Vell himself. Now, I'm not sure exactly how true this is. This is unconfirmed at the time. And it's also unconfirmed that Jude is playing Captain Marvel, hoping that Mar-Vell would be in the film. It's been rumored that Captain Marvel's origin is going to change. Bowden and Ryan Fleck have already gone on record saying they're going to change her origin somewhat so it doesn't seem very Green Lantern-ish. But I don't know. What do you say here with this? Is this a good idea? Will Jude play a pretty good Captain Marvel, or do you think it's best that they maybe not use the character at all? Difficulties aside here, I am still trying to this problem here. But anyway, so we have all right, I can see I'm gonna have to edit all this when I get out. So bear with me for a second. I'll just load here and I will oops, chance. I seem to be having technical difficulties. Change. All right. I don't know, it was working for a moment, and now I can't access the rest of my images. All right, so we're just going to have to make do with what we have here. All right, as we were speaking of, let's see. Already signed for Captain Marvel and set in the 1990s, which I still don't really know how great an idea that is. It's going to involve time travel of some sort. I don't know. They're going to have to say doesn't have an aging gene, maybe, or something, from being probably 50 years old during this film. So rumored to play the villain is Ben Mendelsohn, who we remember from Rogue One, Night Rises, that I'm sure you'll remember him from. No word on who he's playing. Maybe a Skrull, as we've been told that the Skrulls are the villains in the piece. Yeah, as of now, unconfirmed, but let me know what you think. Jude Law playing Captain Marvel, and just exactly what would that role entail? Costuming up? Probably not. If anything, he's probably going to just be playing the Mar-Vell, which I believe was named Dr. Lawson, as it says here in my notes. Should Jude Law play Captain Marvel, Dr. Watson himself, Jude Law? I know, when is that next Sherlock Holmes movie coming out? I don't know. Haven't heard anything about that either. They owe us a third one. Okay. So, moving on. We have Gambit movie. Yes, there's been talk about the Gambit movie. Some casting done. It's a release date, I guess tentatively, because these release dates have changed very regularly for Gambit, but on track to be released Valentine's Day 2019. And the filming is set to begin in early 2018, which again just gives them basically a year, which I guess is all they need. This film has been in, development hell for quite some time. Just right there on your screen is Lizzie Kaplan, who has been cast as the lead love interest. Some sites are speculating it'll be Belladonna Bordeaux here with the Gambit comics, or the Gambit side of the X-Men comics. But the film is to be directed by Gore Verbinski, of course, of the Caribbean saga. So it looks like it's actually going to happen here finally. Channing Tatum will play the role of Gambit. How they're going to tie this into the X-Men universe at large is still anybody's guess. Tie this in with the actual ongoing series. I don't know why they're not, but apparently independent of the X-Men film. But films that are going on. But the thing is that's interesting to me is that Gambit, who is going to be significantly older than most of these other characters, they've still yet to cast Rogue, so there's apparently no romantic involvement between him and Rogue yet, but still be somewhat younger, seeing as how, Cyclops and Nightcrawler and Jean are all still pretty much. So it'll be interesting to see how they go about this. I'm not familiar with Lizzie, but this might be an interesting movie. This might not. Let me know what you think in the comments below about our ongoing saga, Gambit. Will he ever make it to the big screen? We'll soon find out. Here from today. Okay, let's see. We also have the X-Men universe. There is a rumor going around as well that one of the main X-Men characters are going to be killed off, Phoenix. Now, one would suspect maybe it would be Jean Grey because, well, he was killed as the Phoenix in the original Dark Phoenix story, so would be the odds-on favorite bet. But, as you can tell from this picture here, Jennifer Lawrence skinny dipping, I think that chances are it's just going to be they're finally going to pull the plug. There's only so far I think Jennifer Lawrence is going to want to go with this character. They really had nothing for her to do in the last film, Apocalypse. You know, I liked her as Mystique. I think, like I said, she kind of phoned it in the last. That's not entirely her fault. They could have come up maybe with something. Although it could be her fault in that she didn't want to wear the makeup too much anymore. That's why most of it was her wearing Jennifer Lawrence's face. I said, if you're going to be that way, just get out. And, you know, that's probably what she's going to do here. I hear she's got a Beretta to helm. That looks like Fred there in her hand. Maybe that's for the best. Maybe she should be the female Beretta. And if that's what the case is and she doesn't want to play it full time anymore and not dedicate to the makeup and truly can't find something reasonable for her to do in the film instead of just being the glorified den mother Storm role in the original trilogy. What you think in the comments below? Who do you think is going to be killed off in Dark Phoenix? Killed off in Dark Phoenix. Let me know in the comments below. And again, this time to the DCEU, which they're not calling it that anymore. And it took me long enough to try to remember DCEU. I don't know if I can remember universe now or whatever they're calling it. But Joe Manganiello has released a photo of him in full regalia. I suppose I should say spoilers for Justice League, although now I suppose it's too late if you've seen this picture. But of course, Joe was in Justice League in the post-credit scene. I think he looked great. That's a great costume. The look is great. A lot of people are saying his hair is a little too white. Doesn't look like it in this scene is from Justice League, or if this was just costume testing, because they did extensive testing and you know, stunt work behind the scenes. I don't know exactly when this was from, but obviously still dedicated to the role of Deathstroke. And this is probably old news now, but I didn't report it because I was aware that who helmed Rogue One to direct the Deathstroke movie. This is kind of interesting because I don't know if Deathstroke needs his own movie. Family and history and so forth, but I think you need a protagonist in a film with Deathstroke. I don't know if he can carry his own film the same way I didn't think Deadshot could. They were bandying about his own Deadshot spinoff after Dead Squad. I don't see that. I don't know how that'll work, but it's nice to see that Joe is. They haven't completely written him out because it seemed like scrapping plans for Deathstroke being the Batman nemesis in The Batman to take it a completely different way. I think when Ben Affleck was directing it, it was going to be Deathstroke with Joe Manganiello. Yeah, no word yet on how this is going to pan out, but hopefully we get that Justice Justice League, or whatever it's going to be called, Justice League 2, a Legion of Doom with Deathstroke as a prominent member, because I think that's the way to go. I really think that's the way to go. And, you know, I'm dying to see what Joe can bring to this. And, you know, we just got the... But, again, this is the question, and we're going to get into it in a moment, of the DC cinematic universe. All right, so let's get into that right now. First, we're going to talk about... Now, this has been a subject that's been on everybody's heart. The Justice League cut. Now, there's a petition that, at this point, I haven't checked it since yesterday, but it's over 100,000 petition to release Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League. And apparently, his version of the movie has been completed. There's probably a few effects shots that need to be finished. Maybe there's some scoring that needs to be done because, of course, Danny Elfman stepped in when Joss Whedon took over. So the question, a Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. That was my poll question. Go to my Twitter page and vote. Personally, I don't need it. I don't need it because what you needed from God to bring, you know, I don't want to say points of view, but, you know, differing outlooks on the characters. The serious and the somber, the Snyder, and we got the lighthearted and whimsical side with Whedon. To his own devices, Whedon would have been too comical, and of course, we already know, left to his own devices, Zack Snyder is too much of a downer. Why would I want to see? Now, I'll take some scenes. I'll be happy to see the cut if it was available, but it's really weighing heavily on my mind as a must-see. No. Also, it said in the latest report that I've got here that Zack Snyder is backing this petition released, along with the petition. Backing the petition are Ben Affleck's stunt double, Richard Citrone, photographer, cinematographer, Fabian Wagner. Some of the people that actually worked on the film, obviously Zack Snyder is going to want to see it, but some of the people that worked on the film, you know, endorsing this. Zack's son, Jet Snyder, said the following: events that should take a long time were over in a flash. I did enjoy the movie, although it is clearly not what it could have been. Warner Brothers and the forced comedy. So there you see right there, I mean, Snyder needed a hand on him to keep from making it too dour. I mean, you can argue that some of the comedy doesn't work, and some of the comedy was done by Zack Snyder because did mandate that he and make it lighthearted. But again, there's a reason why there was backlash to the first two films. And now we'll talk about the future of the DCEU, or whatever you want to call it. The film was under such heavy scrutiny by Warner Brothers. They gave Zack Snyder carte blanche for divisive. Let's just call it divisive. Gave him carte blanche for Batman v Superman. And that was pretty much reviled by fans. Now, I know Zack Snyder has his fans. The same thing as, you know, saying Nolanites, and basically Nolan could do no wrong in those Batman films, and every aspect of them is a masterpiece. Followers the same way. and that's fine. You follow Nolan or Snyder to that extent. He had two shots, two bites at the apple, and both times didn't really pan out that well. For Justice League, they retooled the whole situation. They said, look, in tone, we want it to be a little bit funnier, lighthearted. We want the characters to feel a little more like their animated counterparts. Let you make the movie so that he could complete his trilogy. Something that not a lot of, superhero directors have been able to do. I think you can count them on one hand. You got, Nolan, you've got Raimi. No one else really comes to mind. I don't think there are too many that have. And so here, changed the complexion of Justice League by saying, look, we're not going to make, it was supposed to be a two-part movie. It was supposed to be, Steppenwolf was the lead-in, and the cliffhanger was going to be Darkseid coming in at the end and setting up Justice League 2. Told him, look, let's pause for a moment. Because they wisely realized, look, like universe has set up Thanos for how many movies now? I'm not sure. Since Avengers. How many years now? 7 years, maybe? I don't remember exactly the year Avengers was released. How many movies have been between them and how many have touched on? I think there must have been at least 3 come to mind. So you don't really want to blow the whole stack with Darkseid just one movie. Maybe that was set up slightly in Batman v Superman. I don't think Batman v Superman was really realized it in that direction. They've already gone apocalyptic in Metropolis with Man of Steel. Throw down in, Batman v Superman, and setting up like another throwdown where Apocalypse was going to completely destroy. I think it was breaks and say, look, that storyline wasn't received well. Nightmare, I think it was called, scene where Batman is dressed like a guerrilla warrior and he's taking out people, and Superman's a fascist ruler and taking over the world. And you also have the Flash coming back from the past saying that Lois is the key and this and that. Nobody responded well to. So there's another reason why they're saying, look, let's back off on the Darkseid story and let's later. We might be able to get to that still. Darkseid, obviously a heavy hitter on the DCEU. Throw him on the screen. So all right, we'll save him for the side. And let's give the people something that, which is the Legion of Doom. Team up yet in the animated, I think, Mar-Vell Cinematic Universe. This is a good chance for them to get on board with that. If I understand correctly, I think that Snyder directed that scene with Jesse Eisenberg and Della to set up a Legion of Doom or whatever for the sequel of Justice League. So hopefully that'll still be in place. That Zack Snyder will be back for Justice League 2. I don't even know if there'll be a Justice League 2. I think it might have been John Schnepp who said that probably what'll happen with their Deathstroke thing, a Man of Steel 2. And I think that might be a possibility. It depends how scared off that the kids are going to be from this. I don't think really they're going to be scared off that much at all. My only fear is that they're going to get scared off of doing another Justice League movie. Aquaman is in the pan. The can, no pan, whatever. The Batman movie. They're already eyeing Jake Gyllenhaal to replace. Wonder Woman was a resounding success. They're not going to back off on her. Jeopardy is probably The Flash and Green Lantern until they really cement what they want to do with those two characters. They've been very unwilling to do anything with Green Lantern since the Ryan Reynolds film, changing their mind on how to handle the Flash. Their movie. Superman is the only bankable character that they have beside Batman. And I think they feel the same way about Wonder Woman, but they know they can rely on a Batman movie to make money on Wonder Woman, and they're going to be able to rely on Superman, so they might just cram this into a Superman movie. Superman was the best received of all the. Well, I mean, everybody got a good amount of praise heaped upon them, but I think everybody basically felt like Superman got his day in the sun in this film. Finally, they shy away from a Superman solo film, but will they shy away from a Justice League film? Will they pretty much do a Civil War and just say, this is Superman's movie? I have a Legion of Doom fight a Justice League. Batman, whoever it's going to be, pull in Wonder Woman, pull in Flash and Aquaman, pull in Cyborg. Look, Superman needs help. This is what's going to happen. All right, so let me know what you think. Do you think, or have you signed a petition for, and I don't know, that the Warner Brothers have extended editions before. We got that with Batman v Superman, which I still haven't seen. Grodd, which I seen, I thought was a minor improvement. They've kind of backed off on that, saying they're not going to do that anymore, but if there's a demand for it, they've done it in the past, maybe they'll do it again. You got to remember, Warner Brothers is not too naive when it comes to making money. Our cut of Superman, the movie, just recently. And that was something that only probably a fringe element of fans wanted. And to, hey, that's what the fans want, give it to them, and let's make some money. That's why money talks in this game, and it's difficult because if Justice League isn't making money, more. That's why I say support the movies. Support the movie. Go out there and see it. See it a couple of times. I'm seeing it for the third time tonight, as a matter of fact, after this broadcast. Also, of course, we had the Donner cut of Superman 2. Took them a long while to get there, but they made it because obviously legal and filed by Marlon Brando, so they waited till his passing. Wait that long that he had to pass in order to get it. But and again, that wasn't something that was is the same situation as here. It's an either or. It's you like the Lester cut, you like the but really what should exist is something in between both of them. So there's things that would be in a Donner cut. I probably will still prefer the tone of the Whedon version, Whedon Snyder version. What you think? Let me know what you think about the Zack Snyder petition for the Snack Snyder cut of Justice League. Okay. All right, so there we wrap up the Torch News Roundup for this week, number 67. That's the extent of what you are here to hear. We're going to move on now to this week in comic book television. Now, as I said before, I don't really have images up here that I wanted. A couple of them got lost. We will proceed without them. So we're going to start off on The Gifted. And this week, as I want to do from time and again, it feels like hell. Sad to say, but it does. For us that way, but it feels that way. All right, so Dreamer tried to make up with Blink, but no dice. Blink met up with a young mutant, and she saw Blink's family being killed, and so that was what enticed Blink to make up with Dreamer and Reese away. They're on the same page now. It's not going to be a real serious triangle, but stuff's going on. It's tough for Proudheart, I think, or Proudstar. I always forget his name. Anyhow, because he it seems like he's the one that's being affected the most by this. I think that's going to be an interesting storyline. A mutant working for the Sentinel Services makes the scene with speed powers, and Lorna and Marcos are still having a rough patch in their relationship because of his working for Carmen. Reed and John go after Reed's father, who worked for Trask. Interesting, this segment here. We found out that Reed's dad is a mutant. Onto mutants, just like the Strucker kids. Reed's dad gave him a cure before he became a mutant to prevent him from becoming a mutant. And there, I thought. Pulse is back in this episode. It seems that Sentinel Services is putting these mutants on the juice to keep them cooperative. And Reed's dad uses his hidden mutant powers and gets shot dead. Dies in the explosion. I thought more was going to happen with Pulse, but they kind of just killed him off fast. We also saw Telepath Girl Azimuth, I think was her name. The speed mutants that kind of was the catalyst for the show. I hope she sticks around because she's pretty. And I like Andy standing up to the big guy because it's nice to see that Andy's like so sure of himself, and you get the feeling, like I said all along, that if they just had Magneto there, he'd be like top capo from the Brotherhood of Mutants. So, you can really tell that he's just dying to Pyro and the United. So let's see. This was a good episode. I don't know. I'm gonna give this one 4 stars. We're gonna give stars out of 5 for Thanksgiving week. All right. I also lost the images for The Flash, so now as well. This episode of The Flash, we were story on DeVoe, the thinker. Therefore I am, which was cute. The thinker, therefore I am. So we got flashbacks, and I thought this was a great supervillain origin story. Now, we really don't get those anymore when you think about it. This time we had a really great villain origin story. They get squashed into a superhero movie, a long, drawn-out progression, but you don't really see the television to see the surprise and, oh, wow, I'm the villain. That's kind of what they did in The Flash the past couple of seasons. But you don't get to see this guy turned from, a normal person into a maniac. He's dying of something that I didn't really catch on what it was. Some kind of or something, I think, because he's too much energy from his, and but what that is, I don't understand exactly what his plan is. We really don't know what his plan is here, because he can borrow time and he wants to do something that is going to him. I don't know if it's going to save his life, but we'll have to find out, I guess. Also, the chest. Despite looking like an unlikely suspect, Barry plows on with his investigation of DeVoe. Police vibe DeVoe's coffee cup, which was funny because, his wife makes some great macaroni and cheese. Great actor, the guy that's playing DeVoe, actress as well. They really sold it to me, these characters, because at first I said, I don't know if I buy it, but it was really sold well in the origin. Got it. that Barry mentions the spider sense. This is at least the second time this season that a Mar-Vell character is straight up named. I think that's a first. We had Felicity mentioning the Hulk. Killer Frost aping the line, "Don't make me angry," which, I don't know if that counts as a reference, but straight up referencing Mar-Vell now. And that's pretty cool because Mar-Vell, I think, in a manner of speaking, with Spider-Man, when they reference both Superman and Shazam, and he goes Shazam, and Aunt May goes, that was cute because it makes you feel like you live in a larger world. But yeah, these characters know who Superman is, even if they don't know there's a Superman. They know there's a Spider-Man. Maybe just in fiction, but I would prefer to think that these people in other cities. But we got the flashback with, i.e., the Reverse Flash, Eobard. DeVoe, big fan, and good luck. And the way he looks at the camera, Tom Cavanaugh, he could have just winked at the camera and you would have just gotten it. I wonder how many people did pick up on that, though, and remembered, oh yeah, this is from the future, and he knows DeVoe. That probably was my favorite episode. I think it was cool that truth, but no one believes him. But the one thing that bugged me with this story, this was a good episode, don't misunderstand. But the big drawback is, why is Barry suddenly allergic to his costume? Entire episode, why? You would think if you're going to snoop around somebody's house, essentially, you're going to wear a mask. You're not going to wear a hoodie. You're going to wear the Flash costume. So I don't really get why to DeVoe's home without the costume. And this has been going on all season. On all the CW shows, we really are not getting the hero in costume too much anymore. Finding excuses not to put him in. And in Flash's case, I think it's just laziness. I mean, come on. He was actually in Star Labs when he left to go to DeVoe's house. How hard would it have been for him to put the costume on? The actors are getting too big now, and they're saying, look, I don't want to do so many scenes in costume. On Grant Gustin, I'm just saying, he's completely out of the Green Arrow costume now. It was the season without even putting on the costume. He runs little feats of heroics out of costume. It's just becoming irritating to me anyway. There's a multitude of sins as well in the plot, because how brilliant do you have to be, But sort of the thing that kind of brought the episode a notch down for me. It's not our episode of the week because of it. Showdown at the end of also was kind of underwhelming. They play this cat and mouse game all. Barry just defies the restraining order and decides to come over, and because DeVoe had him played hell, we like to bring that one up all the time, but that line, he basically played Barry like a harp from hell, and Lively comes in and says, all right, we're gonna have this out as a and I like when the hero and villain do that, but like I said, it just seemed like it was very, logically that Barry would do this. I mean, sure. I mean, I suppose nobody would know. I mean, with his speed, but he was basically daring DeVoe to. Of course, DeVoe already knew who he was, so it's one of those things again from the CW where he's got to have a secret known by the villain. Don't know why, but episode, and the Thinker was a good actor. I enjoyed the performances as well. Grant Gustin's always great. I mean, come on. We get the wedding coming up. Still not interested in that. I mean, I became teacher, honestly. I mean, I hate bashing Iris because it's not that I dislike the character that much. It's not like Patton at all. I mean, she's great, but give her something to do. And they've turned it into almost the same thing with Felicity, where he's codependent on her too much. And to an extent, it's kind of like, the soul behind Peter Parker, and sort of that's what gets him through the day and so forth. They kind of want to do that with her, but she's now calling the shots like behind the desk. Part of on Candace's part, where she's probably like, look, I don't want to sit around anymore, just be a girlfriend. Let me have something to do that. I don't blame her for that, honestly. If I was in the role where I'm just playing boyfriend or something. But it's become difficult to find that niche for Iris where she's not just Barry through the episodes and stuff. Oh, and of course, Wally's back. Presumably for the wedding, I guess, because they really don't know what to do with him, and they're just putting him on the bus and letting him. All right, so wrapping it up, let's see. I'm going to give this episode of The Flash, I'm going to give it 4 stars out of 5. I was going to say 4.5 stars out of 5, but it's just so contrived. Even though I love the episode, the flashbacks, and the origin story, so contrived that he wasn't in costume the whole episode. That always takes it down a full point for me, but especially here where he's breaking and entering. 5 for The Flash. All right, let's move on now. Just for these, because even though for some reason my computer's glitching, I managed to keep a couple of these. Side, we've got Legends of Tomorrow. Morning Vietnam. Yes, the crew of the Wave Rider goes back to Vietnam, 1967. Gorilla Grodd. So Sarah was still out from last week's episode. I'm glad to see she was still in this episode, because giving her the week off, and then we'd get the cameo of her, in sick bay, and then it would just. She does show up again. We'll get to that in a second. The basic thrust of this episode was they run into Rory's dad, who was a soldier back then. He uses a flamethrower just like Mick. Reaction to this, and it was difficult on him. I don't really know that I buy it too much, because I think they retconned his origin a little bit. Now, maybe there's some wiggle room there. I've got to go back and see, but at least that when Mick killed his family, 13 years old or something, and it was an accident, and that he had remorse for that but here they're saying he had no remorse, or he has no remorse, because he basically that feels like Captain Cold's plot. They didn't say it, I don't suppose, outright that for this episode. I mean, they didn't say that Mick's father abused him. That was Captain Cold's, that his father abused him and he wasn't a very great father, and then he goes back and tries to change things a little bit. And it's the same thing here. Although Mick refrains from trying to change his father, it was pretty interesting the way they did that, because harder than everybody else. I think if anybody else had a chance to change their future, they either would have or have already. I think Firestorm has. Both Jax and changed their future or past in order to themselves. Obviously, is Sarah the only one that hasn't? Or that hasn't tried anyway. Anyway, so yeah, that was an interesting storyline. And like I said, that Mick planned to kill his family when he was a kid. I don't know. I thought that was retconning things that too much, but the whole thing of him, his father, was pretty cool. His brain trust. I didn't even write down the names, but it was pretty cool there too. It was Galileo, Mary Curie, and Sir Isaac Newton. So that was pretty cool. It was one of those things like very Bill and Ted moment where, you know, you just see Sir Isaac Newton walking around or whatever he was doing. That was pretty funny. But again, I don't know. It's like it was like one of those things with Harrison Wells, with all the Wells, Council of Wells. Too far? I don't know. Jack saves President Johnson. Again, they're still not really putting the budget on Firestorm at all. But, you know, he was trying to show that, you know, he could be a hero without using the powers and stuff. I get it. I'm trying to, you know. But I thought that prosthetic nose on the President Johnson actor was just ridiculous. He didn't really look like Johnson to me. Johnson, I thought, was a heavier set man, and I don't know. And I don't know. It was interesting that they chose to bring President Johnson, of all people, to the mix. So Grodd tries to take on the Wave Rider. Sarah's back in the mix doing a little action. That was cute. Or did he fall to his dark? Yes, now it looks like he's going to be joining forces with Damien Dark. Seeing those two together, working together. Could this be the Legion of Doom Part 2? Because Eobard's gone, Malcolm's gone, and Eleanor, and now Grodd. Maybe we get somebody else in there and we can have a full-fledged Legion. 5. How many people do you need to make a Legion? I'm not sure. And so they had like a very Thanksgiving moment on the ship, which was cute. I like that. Lady Bird Johnson's pecan pie. So the show continues to be fun. I really enjoyed this episode. I was prepared to say it was a filler episode. I think it was a little bit better than a filler episode, but probably kind of. Yeah, it's a filler episode, I guess. But, you know, it was still good considering it was a filler episode. I am going to give this one, I believe this one was probably, give it 4 stars out of 5. Yes. This week it's 4 stars out of 5. All right, so on now to which one should we do? I'll save the week for the end this week. Usually I do it the other way around. We're going to save it for the end. What do you think is the best episode this week? On Arrow. Oh, yes, Arrow. All right, so this was the Thanksgiving episode. Didn't really feel all that Thanksgiving-y to me, or Thanksgiving-ish, however you want to phrase it. Basically, Green Arrow saves Billy Joel, that is the Piano Man. And I was really happy to see that they weren't just paying lip service to, you know, I'm getting ahead of the story, but at some point, Caden James is going to blow up, you know, a theater, a stadium, or whatever, has Billy Joel performing a concert. And I says, oh, well, Billy Joel, because they already had the Billy Joel reference this season on Legends. They didn't get to put footage of Billy. You know, I don't think this was something that he just shot for the. They got some footage of actual Billy Joel concert, so it looked like Billy was singing. I forget what he was singing. I didn't recognize the song. I think it was like a deep cut. I would have preferred something that I know because, you know, I am a Billy Joel fan, but I mean, it was great to see Billy Joel, you know, show up and sing. You know, give it that feel of authenticity. Wild Dog is a Billy Joel fan. Cool. All right, so we found out Felicity said the Flash is actually her type, which, you know, was just for the reporter, but I thought that was cute because a lot of us thought that the Flash was more her type back when they first met ago now. Yeah, I think I guess Ollie and her are officially together because before it was sort of like a will they won't they thing, and now they're officially together. Ollie arrested for being the Green Arrow again. You know that FBI officer Watson. At this point, she's just trying to aggravate him. She's just trying to dog our boy. I'm not sure if at this point I think that she's like so irrational that maybe she's working. I'm starting to think so. I don't know. It just seems a little too pat that they just keep having her persecute him when there's no real. We already went through this with Roy Harper. Roy took the hood and sort of took the heat off Ollie. Courtroom drama again. That was something that Guggenheim likes to throw in often, but I hate when they start going to the courtroom drama earlier in this show, in the series. But it wasn't that much, I guess, here. But I mean, that's what I mean. It just feels like they're spinning their wheels this season. And supposedly the ratings are down for Arrow this season. So I hope that they take the hint. I'm still jumping all over the place here, but at the end of this, again, we still have Diggle in costume. Oliver puts on the hood one more time here. Do it in the short term. I mean, oh man. I mean, like I said, I like Diggle. If anything, don't make him Green Arrow. Make him Green Lantern. I like Diggle. I would like to see him be. He is a superhero. He's Spartan, but WB just don't want to pull a trigger on him being Green Lantern. I guess a lot of it has to do with maybe the CGI. A lot of it has to do with they want to show first in the movies. It would probably build goodwill if you have a Green Lantern on television. You are really what's the word? Commercialize the character. You're going to character so that people will say, "Oh, I want to see Green Lantern on the movies at the movies. I want to see him because he's so great on television." Doing, with the Flash, they're trying to say, "Look, it's two different Flashes." Back to the notes here. Black Siren's back in town. Katie Cassidy back again. James still. Lots of strife on display. Felicity and Curtis have a tiff over Diggs' experimental treatment that Curtis was giving him. Oliver confronts Diggle over the nerve damage secret he's been keeping. Always rough for me watching those two argue. But anything that happens between Ollie and Felicity, I mean, I just hate seeing these guys get on bad terms. I hate seeing them argue. Just shut up. Don't say anything you'll regret. Just don't talk that way to each other, guys, please. At the TV. These guys have been together since the beginning, that's what I mean. It's like they really have the kind of relationship stronger than I feel one from Felicity and him. Enough to get through that scene, but it was a great scene. But I mean, I'm kind of like, I don't want to see them on the outs. Ollie finally gets back under the hood. Kind of worried about Diggs' continued health deterioration. I mean, they keep playing this up that it's a deteriorating condition. It's not going to go away. It's only going to get worse. One or two options. They're either going to give him a magic cure like Felicity's paralysis, go out and say he can't be a field guy no more, and maybe he'll just stay back with Junior. But nobody knows. So Green Arrow confronts James, but it was a ruse, and James just wanted to state his intentions, in order to get the anti-vigilante bill passed. So I don't know. I mean, we got a couple of minutes here with Quentin. He's been sorely missed, I think, this season, and they're playing up the showdown between him and Black Siren. It's sad because at this point now, Katie Cassidy has such real world. She's dealing with that. They're going to probably build to a real emotional finale this season between them two. I don't know. I don't think they're going to kill off Black Siren. It's possible they could kill off Quentin. It's getting further and further removed from the action. And so without a good plot for him, they could kill him off. It might be him. That's what I'm afraid of. I don't think they're going to get rid of Black Siren because kind of a favorite. I mean, they keep bringing her back in different incarnations, and I like Katie Cassidy, so I'm happy to see her keep having a role in the show, but I think you have to pay this off one way or the other. Need her to be this irredeemable, black-hearted witch that she just kills, you know. And this might build up to what I think, what I hope might happen, I suppose, is a showdown between her and White Canary. That would be really fun. I think they might be saving it for that. But the problem is Legends of Tomorrow is structured. It's not something that you can easily just ship her off. You know, the Arrowverse. I think more likely what'll happen is maybe Damien Dark next season. But the problem is then you'll have Damien Dark be the villain for 3 seasons. Maybe there'll be another big bad that'll sweep her over to Legends, but I think that's what'll happen. Anyhow, so the final, Thea finally wakes up just in time for Thanksgiving. She spent half a season on us. I really hope now that they are going to give her something important to do this season. She's great. And I just hope that they make her Speedy again. Because I really liked her addition to the show as Speedy. So that would be great if they could give her another. All right, so hopefully they'll keep Ollie in costume now. I don't think they're going to. They're doing this transitional thing where he's going to be Arrow now, and I feel like it's only because Crisis on Earth X crossover is coming next week, as a matter of fact. And so I think the smart money was to put Ollie back in costume for the crossover this week and next week, maybe the week after that. They're going to probably make Diggle the Arrow again, which just, I love Diggle. I don't want to see him as Green Arrow anymore. Put Ollie back in the costume. And with the, like I said, with the sliding ratings, such a good idea. They should get Ollie back in costume and get this drama out of the way, because we've got the Williams subplot still lingering around where I want him to be Green Arrow, and Diggle is risking his life, even though he's got a son and wife, is happily giving the responsibility over to him. It's just not working. The storyline is not working, and that's the reason why Arrow hasn't really worked as well this year as it did last year. They really ought to, pull back a little bit here and find Ollie back in costume. I don't know if that means killing off William. That's the only thing I'm concerned about. I wonder, I don't need to have him in the show, and I don't need to have him killed off. Just keep him in the show and keep saying, well, because he's in the show, Ollie can't be Green Arrow. To terms with the fact that his father's a superhero, and have to ship him off. I don't know. All right, so for an episode rating, I'm going to give this week, I'm going to give it 4 stars out of 5. Yes, 4 stars out of 5. It's kind of getting predictable. I'm saying that all of the episodes this week, but bad. Yeah, 4 stars out of 5 for this episode of Arrow. Okay. And so that leaves us with Supergirl. Supergirl gets episode of the week honors this week. Yes, the first time this season. Episode out of all the shows this week. We did get to see her doing some super heroics a little bit, not quite as much. Like I said, they're not heroics this season. It seems like the costume time has been reduced for all. Excuse me. Let me get going before I lose my voice entirely. So this is the episode where Mon-El comes back. I think it's called Wake Up. Tells it this episode, as she always does. Gives a great performance. Very, very moving, emotional, heartfelt stuff. That was another reason. She just got to cut loose with the acting chops that she's so good at. Gave Win more than 3 minutes of screen time for a change. That's nice. This was probably the most Win-centric episode so far. I've been waiting for them to spotlight on him. They gave Jimmy a couple of seconds too. That was nice. I really liked. I'm going to do the Easter egg first, but Kara wanted to do the super spin. Stand back. She says, "I saw Clark do this once." That was great. I love that. I would have loved to see her go through with it, follow through with it, but for budgetary reasons they wouldn't. But I thought it was great. I mean, whenever they reference the original Superman movie, that's gold right there. So that was fun. They did another reference. We'll get to that in a minute when we get to the other subplots. But right now, I'm just going to talk about plot here. We have the story. So what happened was future, and he's coming back not really it anymore. He's not feeling it, and it's kind of strange. And it appears that for him, years, and Saturn Girl is his wife. Now they introduced Saturn Girl, who some of you may remember from the Legion of Superheroes, a body from the future who Superboy a lot. He used to go back and forth in time to meet up with the guys. They had a ring and everything. I believe they had a ring, didn't they, in Supergirl the first season? So it'll be interesting to see if she knows of body, as I said. The girl was cute. I thought that they got a good actress for her. She's not a blonde. Moderately disappointing, but I'm thinking this is to differentiate her from Kara so that they won't say Mon-El married a Kara clone. She looks just like her. They want to be able to say, oh, he fell in love with her on her own merits and not because Kara. Because he's obviously still got the necklace around his neck with the ring and everything, and he's torch for Kara still, I guess. I thought this was a good idea. I thought this was the way it kind of had to go down. You really didn't want to tie Kara down with an ongoing love interest. All the investment they put into Mon-El and this star-crossed lovers thing. So I think this is the best way to do it, where he's taken now. But she's still got that kind of torch that she's carrying for him, too. All I can say is, hey, make way for Brainiac 5. I mean, you got the League of Superheroes. Bring in Brainiac 5. Brainiac 5 was her boyfriend of the comics. The Legion of Superheroes, Brainiac 5, of the original Brainiac. And they haven't dealt with Brainiac yet, I don't believe. Indigo in the first season, so they still got a lot of room to spread their wings there, so to speak. Okay. Lose my voice. Jean has an outing with his dad that doesn't turn out so well, and at the end, Jean sets him up with an apartment that they'll share, which was nice, to the Martian Manhunter storyline. We got the Rain subplot. Okay, Rain, what's going on with her? So she went back to her foster mom, which is the source of some more soap opera drama, as the two don't have a great relationship. A mirroring of Superman's origin, because you have foster mother taking her in and hiding the ship. And of course, there's no foster dad involved because, there's no need for men on this show unless they're in the main cast or are scumbags. They go by. I like her relationship with Ruby. They've handled that pretty well. I like the way she tells her something wonderful's happening. Brother, is she mistaken? Oh boy, you asked for it. And then she has this trip to the desert, which mirrors Kal-El's trip to the Arctic. And she gets her own fortress, the Fortress of Sanctuary. And yeah, that was cool. That was very cool. I thought that was a nice image to the desert, the way that Superman goes to the Arctic. And she officially becomes Rain, I guess, here, and now she's mentally Rain anyway. Something that I wonder will happen. I mean, there's a lot of ways they could go with this. She has a kid, they're not going to kill her off. Essentially, instances where Supergirl's going to have to talk her and restore her humanity, which is something that, so I imagine that's the way it's going to go. But you could have it that, I don't know. Does she get killed, Rain? I don't know. There's a lot of ways they could do it, but just make a recovery at the end of the season. Mon-El's going to stay on the show. I don't know how long Saturn Girl is going to be her on the show, but things are finally ramping up. We don't have the Sandverse subplot anymore. Oh, thank God. We don't have that to deal with anymore. We don't have stupid stuff with Lena and Jimmy. No, that's over with. Oh, anyway, we don't have, just even the subplot with Martian Manhunter. It was good that it was just enough to, whet the appetite of what's going on with these two. Supergirl again, we're focusing on Mon-El a little bit, which is fun because, him as a character, he's a fun character. Of course, he's now in this situation he's found himself in, but it feels like a return to form. Parts of last season. Hopefully, they can do the best parts of the first season, which was even better, really. The second half of the first season was the best offer on Supergirl, and I really hope they get back to that. But this is at least the best of the best parts of second season Supergirl. To give Supergirl this season, okay, the episode of the week, and out of 5. That's 5 stars out of 5 for Supergirl this week. First time this season. Episode Wake Up, I think it was called. All right. Briefly touch on Macgyver this week because I got last week's Macgyver. Enjoying Macgyver. I thought maybe you'd be interested in seeing what I thought of this week's episode. Mac and Jack pose as art thieves, and they have some fun banter during the caper with Aaron and setting off the alarm. It's fun to see these two guys together. It's really fun the way they've guys because Macgyver was always a solo act in the original show. It's pretty funny to see the way they've got them working here. It's working as far as I'm concerned. I don't know what others think. So they don't cross their buyer. Lighting, you remember him? Jack and Riley gets kidnapped and Jack gets tortured until Mac saves the day. The subplots where Bozer goes to boot camp. Bozer goes to boot camp. It sounds like a spinoff. Ernest goes to camp. He uncovers a mystery. An actual mystery. I thought they were going to do the Star Trek The Next Generation thing, honestly, in the first season where he goes to whatever, and he's given a test where he has to save the life of somebody or shut down the episode, shut down the breach in the hull or whatever it was. All of a sudden, they found out, it was a test. It was only a test. I thought that was going to happen with Bozer, but no, he actually saved the day. He and his little girlfriend there saved the day from this spy um, organization or whatever that was trying to find out about them. And also, we got the subplot of Riley's dad showing back up. I don't know what was it. Was he one of the Baldwins? It looked like to me. I can't remember. He wants to reconnect and stuff. They're keeping it away from Jack. That's going to turn into another soap opera drama probably later on down the line. But all right, so yeah, this was a pretty good episode. I'm gonna give this one. I'm gonna give this one stars out of 5. Yeah, I'll give Macgyver 3.5 stars out of 5. Last week. So it has been a full show once again. I'm happy that you found the time to join us. Again, check out my link in the description below for my comic, The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye. On in the world of Bullets Bourbon, we just finished inking our most recent issue. Working on the coloring. We're hoping on a timetable that it should be out by the first quarter of next year. Whenever I say something like that, I can basically add a couple months to it. So I'm guessing maybe April. I'm shooting for February, but probably it'll be April. I link below in the description for my Twitter page and vote in the Twitter poll. Do you want Zack Snyder's Justice League cut? Thanks for watching. Thank you for joining me on the only way to spend your Saturday here with me on Johnnie Torch Live. And once again, we want to remind you to check out some of the videos that I've done recently. I did a long Justice League review, the Thor Ragnarok review, that's still up. You'll be able to find it very easily on my YouTube page or my website page. And because I'm dying to hear, I haven't gotten a lot of videos lately, so give me a line and let me know how things are going and what you think. Enjoy your Thanksgiving weekend. Happy Thanksgiving, one and all. And I will see you back next week. Torch, reminding you once again, keep the flame burning brightly. Real soon.